Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
I like a good serial killer documentary. He hasn't taken the pounding that wide receivers take.
It's just a pound job, and guys are tired towards that 4 minutes.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
I would be lying to you if I said I had not heard things. They're like a bad rash. You hear a lot of things. Some are true, some aren't.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark in for Baloo, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Thursday evening that finds us during game number 6 of the NBA Finals. That'll tip off here in about 2.5 hours or so. The Oklahoma City Thunder looking to win the World Championship tonight. Can Indiana force a Game 7? I would love it. Game 7s don't come around very often. I would love it. I'm rooting for Indiana tonight, although I think it's going to be a tall task. I think it's pretty clear Oklahoma City is the better team in this series, so we'll see what happens. Game 6 of that series is tonight. We got the Elite 11 camp going on out in Los Angeles. We got a lot of recruiting news for both Florida and Florida State to get into. Our AFC West preview continues. We're going to go out to a city that I just left, go out to Las Vegas, Nevada, check in on the Las Vegas Raiders and how their offseason has gone. And we are officially 1 month from today away from the Jaguar rookies reporting to training camp. That's right, July 19th, Jaguar rookies are in. July 22nd, the Jaguar veterans are in. And then one would expect that on Wednesday, July the 23rd, we would have the first practice of the 2025 training camp session. So there is a ton to get into tonight. As always, we are glad you are spending part of your Thursday evening with us. Guest lineup looks like this. We're about 15 minutes away from my buddy JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. Always enjoy talking Jaguar football with JP. We'll look back on OTAs. We'll look back on minicamp. We'll look ahead to training camp, some position battles that may materialize in training camp. So a lot of Jaguar talk with JP Shadrick of Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. That comes up in about 15 minutes or so. And I mentioned the Elite 11 and the recruiting and the commitments that are going on for both Florida and Florida State. The National Scouting Director of 247sports.com, Andrew Ivins, is actually out in Los Angeles at the Elite 11 camp, and he will join us tonight to talk a little Billy Napier in Florida. We'll focus on Will Griffin, the Gator quarterback that is out at the Elite 11, and obviously Florida has been very hot on that recruiting trail in the last couple of weeks. We'll also sprinkle in a little Mike Norvell and Florida State talk as well. We'll do that with the National Scouting Director of 247 Sports, Andrew Ivins. That comes up towards the top of the 7 o'clock hour. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, I was talking to Frangie and Carline about this during the 2-minute drill there, and that is what happened last night at the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. Did I expect to be leading off tonight's broadcast talking about the LSU-Arkansas College World Series baseball game? No, of course I did not. But we're all sports fans, right? I'm certainly one. Denmark is certainly one. I would presume you are probably sports fans. That's why you're listening to Hacker After Dark right now on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And we certainly appreciate you doing that. But we're also all human beings. And last night, if you missed this, there was a freshman left fielder for Arkansas named Charles Davalon. Now, let me set the scene here for you in case you don't know the story. Arkansas had to beat LSU twice, but they were 1 out away from getting the first of those victories, right? 1 out away from forcing a win-or-go-home scenario between the same two teams. Arkansas is up 5-3. They had already botched a double play ball that likely would have ended the game. LSU has 2 outs in the 9th. They're down to their final out. LSU hits a rocket shot to left field. I mean, it was a hard-hit baseball. And this freshman out there named Charles Davillon for the Razorbacks, first off, he kind of slipped going towards the ball, and then he still tried to put his glove up, and it went just over his glove, actually hit him in the shoulder, bounced away. LSU had 2 runs score, ultimately would win the game, I believe, with the next batter. Now, again, LSU season, I don't believe, would have ended if Davillon caught that ball, but it would have forced a win-or-go-home scenario for LSU and Arkansas in a Game 2 format. But Arkansas season did end in large part because the freshman left fielder slipped and then ultimately couldn't recover enough to catch that ball. And I go back to the point of us being human beings. You know, we come on the radio and we criticize and we complain and we gripe and we tell you this guy sucks and that guy's that. But I always do that with professionals. I very, very rarely will go over the top in my criticism of a collegiate athlete. Now, you can argue, and I got the argument from one of my colleagues here earlier today, well, do collegiate athletes deserve more criticism now because of NIL? Because they are getting paid now. And that's a fair argument, but I'm not going to talk about that aspect of it tonight. I felt myself just feeling horrible for this kid. I mean, he was distraught beyond belief after the game. And to his teammates' credit and his coaching staff's credit, I mean, almost every teammate he had came up to him in the dugout after the game. They were shoulders to cry on, if you will, but I just felt horrible. And I think sometimes, you know, we're all sports fans, as I mentioned, and it's literally my job to come on here and tell you my thoughts, whether positively or negatively, about what's going on in the sports world, which obviously then includes criticism of certain organizations or people or things of that sort. But again, I go back to the point that we're all human beings too. And I felt terrible for that kid. And it got me thinking, you know, from a collegiate athlete point of view, it's Arkansas baseball against LSU. It wasn't a national championship football game, right? It wasn't a Final Four in basketball. I get it. But from an Arkansas standpoint, that community, they'll probably never forget it. But it makes you think of, like, the timeout for Chris Webber in the Final Four, right? Now, Chris Webber went on to have a very fulfilling life. It still is. And he's a multi-millionaire, and Chris Webber's not hurting for anything. But you say the name Chris Webber, odds are one of the first things you're going to remember is that timeout that cost Michigan that game against North Carolina. You know, you think about John Van de Velde, right? The British Open, just absolute meltdown on the 72nd hole. Doesn't matter what else John Van de Velde did in his career. That has no bearing on this. When you say the name John Van de Velde and you're a golf fan or a sports fan, you'll remember that British Open for the ultimate meltdown in a major championship. And I just fear for Charles Davillon, no matter what he does in his Arkansas career over the next year or 2 or 3, however long he stays at Arkansas, well, he's always going to be remembered for that. Denmark, you work with high school kids. Now, again, College World Series is a little bit bigger stage than Baldwin on a Friday night. I get that. But you do work with 16 and 17-year-old kids. Davillon, I believe, is 18. I mean, you're a coach at a high school here in town. What would you even go about saying to a kid like that under those circumstances?
Well, I mean, he knows he made a mistake, and I mean, it's not like, you know, you purposely did it. You just put your arm around him and you tell him, you know, that, you know, you're proud of him, and you can't, don't let it bother you. There's nothing really you can't say because he knows he messed up, and all his teammates know he's messed up. I'm sure he made plenty of plays that got them, you know, to help them there to get to that moment. I mean, I coached last year. We finished third in our 4x1 in the state. And everybody's ecstatic, and then we find out a minute later that we got DQ'd. So you're on the highest of highs, and then a minute later you found out you get DQ'd, and you don't get anything for it. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks. We've all, not we've all, but, as a coach, that's, you're in these moments before, and there's nothing really you can tell them. You tell them you're proud of them. Season's over. You love them. And, that freshman will probably be there next year, and the seniors, that's their last game.
And again, to me, there's always been a difference between criticizing professional athletes compared to that of collegiate athletes. But I thought a good point was brought up with the whole money situation with NIL now. And again, that's a topic for another day. I just wanted to throw that out there. But if you take nothing out of this opening monologue, maybe I'm just venting here on my high horse. And don't get me wrong, I'm still going to criticize plenty of people. I'm not going to change my tone. But I was trying to think, if I was doing a show in Fayetteville, Arkansas today, or if that would have been a Gator baseball player or a Florida State baseball player, or basketball, football, whatever, how I would come on here and talk about it, because sports is passion. Sports is what we all love. I've been fortunate enough to do this for going on 23 years. I mean, I'm 41. This is my 23rd year on radio, well over half my life, and I love it. And I know, we have so many sports fans here in our city that are passionate and loyal and diehard and everything. But with that passion and loyalty, you do get frustrated. You do get mad. You do get ticked. You get all of these emotions, right? And then you see a situation like Charles Davalon with the Arkansas baseball team last night at the College World Series that obviously made a game-altering mistake, a season-ending mistake. And as much as you want to come on and crush the kid, you see his reaction after the game, and you see just how heartbroken he is, and just pouring his heart out to his teammates and his coaches. And it was like, good grief, man. I think sometimes we all forget that these athletes that we watch on television, these athletes that we spend money on to go to stadiums, arenas, what have you, they are all people, right? They put their pants on the same way you and I do. They have families, they have feelings, they have all that. And that just kind of took me aback last night a little bit. That, as much as if you're an Arkansas fan, as demoralizing as that loss was, and immediately you just want to this, that, and the other to Charles Davalon, the freshman left fielder, when he saw how bad that kid felt about what happened, just kind of hit me. It stuck with me almost 24 hours later. And I don't know, what this all means necessarily. I just thought I'd throw it out there. You do with it what you will. But I'm going to remember that, at least from a collegiate point of view, a little more often now when somebody makes a mistake or a bad play, and maybe try not to go as over the top as I normally would. Having said that, LSU, what a win. And again, Arkansas, and I didn't know all of this. Apparently, Arkansas has just had horrific luck in the College World Series. Again, I'm not an encyclopedia on Arkansas baseball. I highly doubt anybody listening here is. But apparently, they have had just some awful ways to lose games at the College World Series. I heard a whole thing about it today that if you're an Arkansas baseball fan, you've lived, your 9 lives and then some, because you have just lost in miraculous fashion there in Omaha, Nebraska. We've had heartache in Jacksonville, but the good thing about having heartache is that the team was probably good, and you had to have heartache when they lost, right? Miles Jack wasn't down. 07 Patriots game when Northcutt dropped the ball. 2022 Kansas City when Christian Kirk dropped the ball. 99 AFC Championship game when Tennessee came in here and made Jacksonville their home field. We're not beyond heartache here with the Jaguars, although in the last few years anyway, more so than not, you can't really have heartache when the team has been terrible. And the Jaguars have been terrible for a majority of the last 15 years. I believe that will change. I hope that will change. And we are a month away from training camp. The rookies report 1 month from today. My buddy JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio. Let's look back on one of the craziest off seasons in Jaguar history. Let's briefly touch upon what we saw at OTAs and minicamp, but more so, let's look ahead to a month down the road to training camp and what might be one of the most interesting training camps we've had around here in a long, long time. JP Shadrick, Jaguars Radio, Jaguars.com, joins me next on a Thursday night here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us right here on Hacker After Dark.
On campus,
7 years of college down the drain.
on the inside, and on XL Primetime.
What's the deal with the show?
Bleacher Report college football insider Matt Hayes.
How do you like being in a real studio?
2 to 4 weekdays on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnik Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnik's Treating You Right guarantee. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer. Nobody but Nimnik. For 3 generations, Nimnik has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right, and they give a bunch back to the community. Visit NimnikBuickGMC.com today to learn more, or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 19, 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers win their first title after beating the Golden State Warriors in Game 7, the first team to overcome a 3-1 deficit.
Beer. That's a pretty good game plan when it comes to battling the summer heat. When you hit the beach, fishing hole, or golf course, make sure you hydrate. Anheuser-Busch is always up for a good time. Just remember to drink responsibly.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beard's has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beard's now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beard's can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol, Beard's Diamonds, at St. John's Town Center.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coating. We transform pool decks, driveways, and patios with pro precision. Checkmate Coating, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings. your floor's missing piece.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text Kettle to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text KETTLE to 321-321. That's Kettle to 321-321.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Jaguar offseason basically in the rearview mirror, right? OTA's gone, mini camp gone. We are about a month away from training camp. Let's talk about all of it. Let's review what was maybe the craziest offseason in Jaguar history. Let's preview what could be a very interesting training camp in about a month's time with JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. Always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. JP, how we doing?
Heck, you're doing good, man. I'd be curious the rankings on craziest off seasons in Jaguars history. I mean, you said it's the craziest, might be. I mean, there's some real crazy ones we've had around here over the years. I'll give you that. This is pretty darn close. It has to be. I wonder what the top three are.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. And crazy could mean different things. I mean, the Urban Meyer offseason was crazy.
That's what I was thinking of.
Dante Fowler blowing his knee out a week after he was drafted was a little bit crazy. But when you look back, JP, at the last, 5 months, I guess, now that the offseason is basically gone, right? The next time we see the guys, it'll be training camp and the season is here. I mean, from a mile-high view, how would you summarize the last 5 months for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Well, I mean, transformative is one word that kind of pops to mind. The possibilities are out there to build the foundation for some long-term success here. And it's just a different approach. I mean, you're going with some youth and all the leadership positions. 3 leadership positions, guys who've never had these roles before either. So they're kind of learning these roles as they move along here as the GM and the head coach and the EVP. So start with that. They've got some key pieces in place that you don't have to worry about for a while, at least contractually. And the quarterback and the defensive end, the corner, and there's a handful of guys like that, which kind of helps. And then they've, done a little work in free agency, but made a big splash in the draft and getting Hunter in here. So I think it has the possibility of being a transformative, foundation building time for this organization for the years to come. Well, that only happens if the foundation turns into something great and these players play well. The coaches get them to go out there and perform. So that's what we're still lacking. Like we're not quite there yet, but we've been able to grade a lot of off seasons around here highly. Let's see it hit the field come September.
JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. JP, I know you do a lot of out-of-market interviews like I do, and it never ceases to amaze me since James Gladstone was hired. Inevitably, I always get 1 or 2 questions about James Gladstone. For whatever reason, maybe it's the 34-year-old, maybe it's the fact that he looks so young, maybe it's the fact that, Pat McAfee and his crew have kind of embraced James Gladstone, given him his own nickname on their show. Whatever it is, the 34-year-old GM here in Jacksonville is a pretty popular figure nationally.
Yeah, and, there was that run there when the Rams were first good, right? Everybody wanted a coach off of the McVay tree, You know, it's Cincinnati, right? I mean, they go out and get these guys. Whoever was affiliated with McVay was like getting hired. And there's a little bit of that now with front office types, right? I mean, he was groomed in that front office and under Les Snead, right? And just kind of this was the right time. It felt like Snead said in the past year, okay, let's put him out there and see what happens, right? So, and he's got a personality about him too. I mean, that's the good thing. He's not just some, computer whiz Harvard nerd guy, right? I mean, that's fine if you're that, but he's got more to him than that. There's some meat on the bones. The guy played when he was, younger, and he gets it, gets the whole idea of what the organization should feel like, right? And then has the guts to go out and try to make some bold moves. So, all right, that's cool. He's got that personality. Let's see as it goes along if he can continue to build it, right? That's the only real thing. But I think his personality is a reason why he's so approachable and likable. When he does speak publicly, it's straight and to the point. There's not a lot of fluff there, but there's good reasoning behind it, and he gives you a full answer. And then when he's not on the microphone, he's actually a really kind of normal guy, And you know what? Yeah, he is young. He's 34, but if you can do the job, you can do the job. And so far, he's doing the job.
Last personnel, or I guess, upper management, coaching staff question, then we'll get to the roster. But this offseason, I talk about how crazy it was. When I see the side-by-side photo of the Zoom press conference with Trent Baalke and Shad Khan, and then about a month and a half later, it landed with Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, and James Gladstone alongside Shad Khan. Talk about 180-degree difference, JP.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was part of the figuring out of, where this organization was. And, the feel after the first wave of interviews changed it. And, that's just kind of how it goes. And now... Yeah, I mean, you turn it on now. Let's be honest, Hacker. Like, I mean, if they don't win, everybody's going to hate these guys, at the end of the day. Yeah. So, you got to go win and do it. This is the honeymoon phase. And I like these guys. Everybody loves Tony, clearly. And, and Liam Cohen and James Gladstone so far have been really great to deal with. And I like what they've done. But it's the honeymoon period, right? I mean, go play some games, go win some games, and you'll be able to say that it's a whole lot better than the past, because I get what you're asking, the tone and everything around that was just weird how it went down in January. But then they realized how it wasn't going to work going forward. And as Shad Khan is apt to do, he makes some changes and moves forward. So here we are.
A couple of more for JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, and, of course, Jaguars Radio. All right, the players on the roster. JP, I don't know if I've ever seen this amount of turnover. Now, we have plenty of turnover every year, but of the 90 guys that are here, I think I counted between 50 and 55 that were not here in January. I mean, that's staggering, is it not?
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you suck the year before. That's what's supposed to happen, Hacker. I mean, they won 4 games last year. You just want to run it back? I mean, you can't, especially with a new staff that didn't bring in a lot of these guys. This is what it's supposed to feel like when you don't play well. You try to figure it out until you do play well. And turnover is inevitable, certainly when there's change in the front office. I mean, so it's a clean slate now, even for drafted guys. Hey, there's no guarantees that you're going to have your starting spot or whatever that is anymore. You've got to go out there and prove it to this new staff. There was obviously great participation in the offseason program. They needed to be here to learn a new offense and defensive scheme, and the new coaching staff, everything that goes with that. So that's why. I mean, that's what it is. You don't want that every year, I don't think. There's just naturally going to be some turnover. This does feel a little extreme, but it's an extreme off season because it's all changed. It's all new. It's new leadership, and they won 4 games. Not like they, went 9-8 and missed the playoffs. They were much worse than that. So you got to clean it out and start over.
I like to think that I'm good with jersey numbers. I'm kind of wired that way. I've been very happy I've had a roster sheet during OTAs and minicamp. There's a lot of new guys to learn here, no question about that. All right, Travis.
And then one of them changes his jersey during practice to offense to defense. It's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, well, let's talk about him. Your initial impressions of Travis Hunter.
Has a personality on him, it feels like, at least on the field, right? He's seems pretty good with his teammates. He's eager to be there. From all accounts, he's really great in the meeting rooms, both sides of the ball, can bring what he's learned to the field. And, there's some moments where he might be in the wrong spot or the miscalculation with Trevor and certain things. Hey, you come back, you work on it. That's what the off season's for. I'm not going to dock a lot of grades right now because of that, because this was the time to learn certain things. Once training camp and things hit and games hit, then that's a different animal. Fantastic in and out of the breaks and great with his hands. And we don't know about, I'm sure he's fast enough, but nobody's wearing pads yet. So let's see it when there's actually some real defenders against him with pads that are wearing another team's colors. I think that's when we'll really start to see a little bit of it. But it's exciting to see. I mean, and it kind of builds this wide receiver room out a little bit. They've got some speed and some guys that can play now. And then on defense, his ball hawking ability is great. What kind of role will he have? Maybe it's just that. Certain situations to start and then build as they move along with him. But his ball skills are incredible, and that translates on both sides of the football for him.
We talk so much about Travis Hunter. We've certainly talked a lot about Trevor Lawrence with good reason. That's what happens when you're the starting quarterback for an NFL football team. But I got to tell you, JP, at minicamp, for those 2 minutes roughly that Brian Thomas was on the ground, you could have heard a pin drop in the Miller Electric Center. Luckily, he got up, walked to the sideline, went inside, then came back. Liam Cohen was asked about it, said he could have gone back in. It was precautionary, and then he was back in the next day at minicamp. But I think that, for me, put into perspective just how unbelievably important Brian Thomas is to this situation.
I was sitting there on the sideline right next to Jeff Lageman that day, and he goes down. We're sitting there waiting. I mean, the crowd was there, so that made it even more dramatic, right? There's 2,000 people in the stands that day. So, and we're like, he's probably one of the top 5 guys that you can't have hurt. I mean, you got to go to the season with these guys, and you need these guys out there. Of course, me being me, I'm like, what about the other 48 guy? Like, they don't think so. No, I was half kidding, but you understand, like, he's a guy you have to have on the field. You got to get him to the starting line at least. So that's why that was so scary. But, hey, good for him to come back out the next day. I was almost one to say, hey, just sit him down. But, hey, if he's not hurt, he's not hurt. Go out, practice. And I think he's poised to have an even bigger year this year, and especially with the help he has around him now at receiver. If that opens up a few things for him, even if it doesn't, he might go get it on his own against a couple defenders against him. So he's that talented. He's got the right personality to just lock in and go to work. So we certainly like that around there.
Final moments, JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. Helmets and shorts, it is what it is, but it's all we can go on right now. Your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence this offseason?
It's helmets and shorts, right? I mean, learning a new offense. And like I said just a moment ago, this is the time of year where I'm not going to, grade a bunch of, I'm not tracking passes at practice in May. I mean, that's silly. Some people do, and that's fine. You do your thing, but not you personally, Hacker, but other people do. Just because this is the time where you're working out a new offense, and there's kind of kinks in it, and timing and chemistry, all these things you don't have yet. And, let's see. Let's see it when it gets real with Trevor. All accounts, he's locked into the new scheme and doing everything the right way. But let's see it continue to build. It's a big year for him, clearly. I mean, he's got the contract for a long time, but there's already a little bit of, hey, what is Trevor really going to be or do? He's got to go prove some things, I think, this year. to get some of those naysayers off his back a little bit. Because if the struggles continue, that's only going to get louder. Certainly nationally, that's going to get really loud if production doesn't come relatively fast for him in this new scheme.
You know, as we look ahead to training camp and as we wrap up here with you, JP, I look at some position battles. I look at safety as one that could be very interesting in training camp. I think the offensive line, look, they brought in 6 new guys in pro free agency and the draft class. There's a lot of guys here from last year that might be in some trouble. Those are the 2 that really stand out to me. And then I guess maybe the biggest position battle people are talking about in the fan base is maybe Travis Etienne versus Tank Bigsby for that starting running back spot.
Yeah, I mean, the line is where it starts for me. I mean, it's clear. And the 2 new interior players are going to play. Is the left guard locked in? Okay, we'll see. I mean, there might be some competition there. Left tackle, certainly. They didn't draft Walker Little. This group didn't. So he's got to have a really good camp, I think. And then, of course, the right tackle, Anton Harrison, has been off and on this offseason. Let's see what his drill, if he can take the next step and get back on track after a little bit of a subpar season a year ago. And there's some pressure on him too. So, and remember who's part of the decision-making group now, one of the best offensive linemen in league history. So there's a little more scrutiny. There's always scrutiny, but with that guy involved, it's like, okay, there's really nowhere to hide on the offensive line. And then the running back, I mean, I could see, let's see if Tank holds on to the ball first, right? What else do they have in these rookies that they brought in, right? Tootin's going to be fast. The guy from Syracuse has a chance. All right, let's see it in camp, see what happens, move it ahead. Experience does matter now. Like, Etienne has had some big moments for this team. Not a whole lot, but he has had some. And that can matter if you can continue just to perform. And with the money he's guaranteed to make this year, 6.5 or whatever it is, $6.5 million. All right, if he's the consistent, he'll be out there and playing. So I don't think that's done by any stretch of the imagination, because he's still a good football player.
JP, 60 seconds to go. Leave us with this. The excitement in the city coming off a 4-13 campaign is pretty incredible right now. I think that's the Travis Hunter effect. I think Cohen, Gladstone, Baselli are factors there. You mix in a little BTJ, some Trevor Lawrence. But there is no doubt that the team was bad and horrifically underachieved last year. And yet, despite that, the rookie minicamp turnout, last week at minicamp, that turnout, those stands are going to be packed for training camp. There is an unbelievable level of excitement for this team coming into the year.
Yeah, and there is. There's a lot of buzz this offseason, and like we were saying before, the change happens, and if the change kind of sparks a fire, then you keep stoking that fire throughout the offseason. I think that's why some of the availabilities and open practices were there in times where they may not have been in the past. Not every rookie minicamp's open, right? Certainly not mandatory minicamp. So open the gates, let them see what's going on. Be transparent as much as you can without giving up the secrets. But, I think that's a change in philosophy from the football leadership as well, the new group running it. So that's only going to continue to grow. Let's get through this, next 4 or 5 weeks clean, and then get to training camp, and it's only going to build from there. And hey, week 1's a big football game. You've got to get that win to really get it going the right way. We're a long way off from that, but yes, there is a lot of positive momentum right now.
JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. JP, enjoy a little bit of downtime. Hopefully you're getting away for a little bit, because training camp will be here before we know it. Thank you as always, my friend.
Always a pleasure to talk with you, Hacker. Appreciate it.
Jacksonville's cool summer station. Good friends, great sports talk, and summer on the First Coast. 1010XL.
Just when you thought we couldn't bring you more, Keon Atlantic is here with a brand new store. We have the same great team to treat you well, with new savings during our grand opening sale. Keon Atlantic is here with the new store. Shop our best offers and largest selection yet. Save big during our grand opening sale. Is there something for everyone on our lot? You bet. If you're ready to experience something new, the all-new Kia on Atlantic is ready for you. Your perfect ride is a visit away. Online at KiaOnAtlantic.com. Kia on Atlantic, your coastal Kia connection.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jax Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jax Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Eye & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like EVO implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 3:20 for the latest in sports injuries. From all the big names in the game, who's MIA, who's coming back from injury. Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 3:20.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJax.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Got a leaky faucet, AC blowing hot air, a funky smelling septic tank? No worries, Duck Rooter has your back. We're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, so you can stop juggling 3 companies and just make one easy call. Our expert techs are fast, friendly, and really know their ducks. I mean stuff. Call 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
The NBA playoffs are here, and there's no better place to catch the action than Hurricane Grill and Wings. With slam dunk specials like $3.75 Miller Lite drafts, plus fresh, never frozen wings in over 30 flavors, and big screens everywhere. This is your home for all the games. Handcrafted cocktails, bold flavors, big plays. Don't just watch the games, experience them at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out The Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At The Y, summer camps every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad. Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage too.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Thank you to JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. And yeah, you look at some of the position battles setting up for training camp. I think all eyes are going to be on Etienne Bigsby. I think both guys obviously make the team, but who is going to get that official running back one nod? Etienne, it's interesting because, I mean, I almost even hate to say it like this, but, you know, the entire offseason, we've talked Travis Hunter, right, and Brian Thomas Jr., and talked about De'Ami Brown getting $10 million, and certainly Trevor Lawrence, and Brenton Strange has come up a lot in conversation because he's the new Evan Ingram replacement, right, at tight end. And we've talked Tank Bigsby, and then there's Travis Etienne, right, former first-round pick coming into a contract year. And let's be honest, I mean, the odds of Etienne being in Jacksonville past 2025 are probably not very good. So not only is he a first-round talent, he has shown talent, no doubt, but he's got a lot to play for. You know, we talk about De'Ami Brown signing a one-year prove-it deal, if you will, in Jacksonville. Wasn't that exactly what Travis Etienne has? Final year of his contract, probably going to hit the free agent market next year. It's a big year for Etienne. And when he's right and when he's healthy, he's a dynamic playmaker. The problem is, and, you know, we talked about this with JP and talked about it with numerous people on this show this offseason. So something about him running in between the tackles that just doesn't work, or at least it didn't work in Doug Peterson's offense. I mean, he gets caught up in the wash. I mean, the big plays, you think about the Pittsburgh play, right? The Pittsburgh play, that was the pass from Trevor Lawrence. That was obviously to the outside. The run in the playoffs to seal the Chargers game, to get him in a field goal position. That was a handoff to the outside. All of Etienne's stuff, or at least a lot of his good stuff, is to the outside, which is what I hope they do with Etienne. Turn Etienne into, who was it, Rachaad White in Tampa, right? That's what Liam Cohen did with Rachaad White. Rachaad White sometimes struggled up the middle, but he got him on the perimeter a lot, and that opened up Rachaad White's game. And honestly, Bucky Irving did a lot of the stuff in the middle, in the trenches, if you will, football-wise, which is where I think Tank Bigsby will thrive in this Jaguar offense. And what does that mean for Michelle Tootin, the rookie from Virginia Tech, or Quinn Allen, the rookie from Syracuse? Those are going to be the four guys that make the team. So, look, I think the running back room is interesting. We got some position battles setting up on the offensive line. One of my biggest questions heading into camp, and again, the rookies report 1 month from today, the 6 new offensive linemen, the 4 in pro free agency and the 2 they got in the draft. You're talking about Makari, Hainsey, Edoga, Johnson, Milam, and Monheim. Do all 6 of those guys make the 53-man roster? I tend to think they probably will, right? And if all 6 of those guys make the roster, well, all right, how many do you keep? Do you keep 10? I mean, Walker Little, that's 7. Anton Harrison is 8. I would think Ezra Cleveland, unless you try to move off of him in a trade, but let's assume Cleveland's here. That's 9. And then you got your Cole Van Lannens, your Javon Fosters, your, Luke Fortner's, Dennis Daly. We haven't talked about Dennis Daly. He's a former starting tackle with the Tennessee Titans. He's almost an afterthought here. So there's going to be a lot of competition on the line, and same thing at safety. You draft Caleb Ransaw, you sign Eric Murray, you still got Daniel Thomas and Dewey Wingard for special teams, although I think Wingard might play more on the defense this year. And then what about Antonio Johnson? What about Darnell Savage? There's too many guys there for the safety position. All those guys I don't think can make the roster. So there are going to be some names that Jaguar fans, that you're very familiar with, that have played a lot of football more than likely in Jaguar uniforms, that are going to have a hard time making the 53-man roster when training camp begins in about a month. So certainly more on the NFL. In fact, we'll continue our NFC West preview coming up later on in the 7 o'clock hour. Check out our AFC West preview later on in the 7 o'clock hour. Last night we were in Kansas City. Tonight we'll go to a place that I just was, to Las Vegas. My guy in Las Vegas is Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. We'll talk Pete Carroll. We'll talk Geno Smith. We'll talk Ashton Genty. Interesting offseason for the Las Vegas Raiders. They were the only team in that division last year that did not make the playoffs. Will that change in 2025? Our AFC West preview continues talking Las Vegas coming up later on towards the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up in less than 10 minutes, we will go to Los Angeles to the Elite 11 camp. The national scouting director for 247sports.com, my buddy Andrew Ivins, is out in LA at the Elite 11 taking in Will Griffin, right? The Gator commit, 4-star kid out of St. Petersburg. We'll talk about Will Griffin. We'll talk about Billy Napier and what Billy Napier's doing on the recruiting trail. Look, say what you will about Billy Napier. I know Gator fans, you probably didn't expect him to be here in June of 2025 if we had this conversation a year ago. You probably didn't expect him to be here in June of 2025 after, the first month of the regular season last year. But when you end the way they did with wins over Ole Miss and LSU and Florida State and the bowl game against Tulane, Billy gets another year. Billy's done reasonably well in the transfer portal. And not that it will matter for 2025, but Billy's doing really well on the recruiting trail for 2026. The Gators in the last 2 weeks, you could argue, have been one of, if not the hottest team in America on the recruiting trail. A couple of 4-star wide receivers, a 4-star running back, a 4-star edge rusher. They're a 4-star corner last night. They're in the mix for some other guys as well. Billy's been pretty good on the trail, man. And that includes Will Griffin, their 4-star quarterback out of St. Petersburg, out of Tampa, that area. Andrew Ivins, 247sports.com, is at the Elite 11 in LA. He joins me next. Talk a little Gator recruiting and a little Seminole recruiting on a Thursday night here in Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us on Hacker After Dark.
The plot begins to thicken. Now, I can't be specific about the heroes and zeros.
Dan Hick, Jeff Prosser, Mike Demps, Fat Tony, Joe C, Hacker, Matt Hayes, Leon Searcy, Frank French, Hayes Carline, Lauren Brooks, Rick Ballou, 1010XL.
Hey, John, have you seen the exciting 2025 lineup at Randy Marion Cadillac?
They've got the Lyric, IQ, Optique, and the stunning Vistique. It's a Cadillac lover's dream.
And the best part, over 100 new Cadillacs are in stock and ready for you to drive home today.
Plus, it's the perfect time to trade in your Tesla and experience luxury and performance like never before.
Visit us today at Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Don't miss out on these incredible vehicles. Your new Cadillac awaits.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Is your roof ready for hurricane season? When storms hit, you need more than just a roof. You need trust. Valor Roofing Company is veteran-owned and operated, serving all of Florida with integrity and quality craftsmanship. From minor repairs to full replacements, they'll treat your home like it's their own. Estimates are always free, and veterans receive a special discount on all roofing services. Visit ValorRoofingCo.com and protect your home with people who care. GAF certified license CCC 1334864.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
I've been having knee problems for probably 6 months, and my knee was getting worse, and I had heard about Southeast Orthopedics on the radio, and I gave them a call. They got me right in. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. It was painless, and it's been doing fantastic. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Have you been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder? You may qualify for a new clinical research study. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso is now enrolling participants to evaluate the effectiveness of a non-opioid medication treatment option for OUD. Qualified participants will receive study-related care at no cost and may be eligible for reimbursement of travel and accommodations. To qualify, applicants must be 18 to 65 years old, have been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder, and have not been on medication to treat opioid use in the last 3 months. The study lasts up to 22 weeks, with weekly visits during treatment. If you're ready to explore a new path forward, visit OUDstudy.com for more details and qualifications. Take the first steps and visit OUDstudy.com. That's OUDstudy.com. OUDstudy.com.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Spend an evening with heart. One night, 2 sets. A journey through the hits and timeless classics. June 24th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com. Don't miss an evening with Heart live.
It's a battle for the playoffs as your Sharks take on the first place Steam Wheelers. Catch all the action this Saturday, June 21st at 7. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try the new 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700.
Prosser here. Come cheer on the Sharks as they circle a playoff bid. It's Star Wars night presented by HCA Florida Healthcare. Dress up in your favorite costume. Get photos with your favorite Star Wars characters before the game. The first 1,000 kids get a free lightsaber. Join us on the field after the game for a free autograph session and special jersey auction. Tickets start at just $15. Call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made.
Go Sharks! Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The middle to latter portion of June. Boy, recruiting has really heated up in both Gainesville and in Tallahassee. And we got the Elite 11 finals going on with the best high school quarterback prospects in the nation, which includes Will Griffin, who's committed to the University of Florida. Andrew Ivins is Director of Scouting for 247sports.com. He's out at the Elite 11, and Andrew's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Andrew, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Day 3 of the Elite 11 finals about to take way. So it's been a fun event. You mentioned it, Will Griffin, the Florida commit, longtime Florida commit out here competing with 19 of the other top quarterbacks from around the country. And, 2 years ago at this event, DJ Lagway was kind of one of the stories. He was a guy that we saw go through 3 days of workouts. You saw the frame. You saw the potential. You knew it wasn't all there just yet. But we left Los Angeles thinking, okay, if this kid has a productive senior season, he might be a 5-star prospect. Now you look up 2 years later, and he's one of the cover boys of college football. So always good to get a chance to evaluate these guys and kind of size them up.
Billy Napier and the Gators have been very hot on the recruiting trail. I want to talk to you about that, Andrew. But first and foremost, let's talk about Will Griffin. I think a lot of Gator fans starting to follow recruiting now, maybe don't know a lot about the quarterback that's been committed to them for a long time. What can you tell us about Will Griffin?
Well, he's built like Tim Tebow, right? He's 6'3", 230 pounds. I think he's got the biggest hands of the 2026 cycle. I mean, they might be 11 and a half inches. And he's a kid that has played a ton of football. We have 16 quarterbacks right now inside our top 247. Will Griffin has started more varsity games than any of them, 46 to date. So, you think he's probably going to get another 12, 13, or 14 this upcoming fall at Tampa Jesuit High School. And I mentioned, looks like Tim Tebow, but he's a guy that wants to win from the pocket, right? He really isn't a guy that leans into the power run game. Now, that doesn't mean he can't move around, but he wants to win off play action. He's a guy that wants to play in sync. And, Will Griffin, to me, he's been a little dinged up this offseason. I liked him at the regional in Tampa a few months ago. And, night one out here, I thought he was really sharp, especially down in the red zone. And I think about Florida. I think about Billy Napier. I don't think he gets a lot of credit for being a quarterback kind of guru, a guy that can squeeze the most out of these individuals. I mentioned DJ Lagway, it was an excellent rookie campaign for him. And I think Billy Napier was a big part. So you take Will Griffin, what he's able to do right now, and you think about him sitting for 1, 2, 3 years under Billy Napier. I think Florida's got something. The other thing I really like about Will Griffin is just the way that he is wired. We kind of were talking to him at check-in. I asked him, hey, how do you win this event? And he really kind of used a wide paintbrush and talked more about his senior season. He said that, how he becomes a better quarterback is being the difference maker for his team. It's leading them down the field when they need a touchdown. It was just a really unique answer. So, a guy that we have a 4th star on, and a guy that I think Florida fans should be excited for, and someone that could certainly factor into the plans, whenever DJ Lagway leaves Gainesville.
Andrew Ivins, Director of Scouting, 247sports.com. He's out in Los Angeles at the Elite 11 camp. All right, Andrew, a lot of Gator fans in our parts here in Jacksonville that follow recruiting were scratching their head about 2 weeks ago, right? I think they only had 2 commitments at the time, and people were talking about, well, what's Billy Napier doing? Well, now they have a dozen commitments, or actually over a dozen with the commitment last night. Now they're 13 commitments total, and they've been one of the hottest teams on the recruiting trail. I mean, what exactly has happened in the last 2 weeks?
Billy Napier and his staff have gotten these kids on campus, right? You think about college football recruiting, just in general. I mean, things have changed so much, not only from like 10 years ago, but try 2-3 years ago. It's such an accelerated process. And, the way it works now, these kids take official visits in the month of June, and then everyone kind of wants to be committed before July 4th. Like, that has turned into the unofficial commitment window, that July 4th date. And, a lot of these guys that have picked the Gators here over the past couple of weeks, they're guys that have spent time in Gainesville in an official visit. And, if you spin this back to the 2025 cycle, so that's Florida's, incoming true freshman class. Remember, this time last year, Billy Napier's seat was as hot as anything. And that really hampered the Gators' recruiting efforts. Now, they finished with a top 10 recruiting class, but that's because they busted out the spatula, in November, in December. They ended up flipping 13 prospects. I think when I look at this group of 13 individuals for the Gators, I think it's raising the floor of what this recruiting class is going to be. And what I mean by that, I think Florida's going to have another opportunity to be very active when we get to the winter months, and again, go after flip targets. So to me, from my perch, my eye, I think what Florida has done is they're finding guys with developmental traits, guys that might need, a year or two in the crock pot before they're ready to go. But these are the type of guys that Billy Napier and his staff have had a ton of success with. You look at this upcoming season and the guys that are in the 2 deep for the Gators, a lot of individuals that you could see the vision in high school, just needed some time to develop. And I think Florida building through the high school ranks, it makes a ton of sense.
Well, on the 247.com rankings, again, you're the director of scouting for that terrific recruiting website. You look at Florida and what they've done in the last 10 days. 3 of the guys that have committed are ranked inside your top 200, a couple receivers and a defensive back that just flipped from Nebraska in the last 72 hours. So not only is Florida bringing in guys, but they're bringing in, quite frankly, highly ranked guys on 247sports.com.
Yeah, in the corner you mentioned CJ Brona out of Windermere there in Central Florida. I was at his spring jamboree, and it was kind of a who's who on the sideline. A lot of college coaches were there to see CJ. Nebraska was in very, very early on him, but this is a height, weight, speed cornerback, a guy that was a state champion in Florida in the 100-meter dash. I mean, he can absolutely roll. As a junior, 6 interceptions. He returned 3 of them are 4 touchdowns, right? So he's a dynamic athlete, especially with the ball in his hands. We had some kind of questions about the level of competition that he had faced to date. Windermere playing kind of an independent schedule. They're not part of the FHSAA. They are this upcoming season. Well, how does he answer the call at the Under Armour camp in Orlando back in February? He was our alpha dog. He was excellent in coverage in one-on-ones, both press man, off man. I think he finished the day, with close to 6 pass breakups, and which is really, really impressive. So I love that take for Florida. Another one of these guys where, once Florida gets their hands on them, you can see the vision. And I think he's someone that you can play on the outside in the SEC. Is he a year one, a contributor? Probably not. He's going to have to get the body right, get there in the weight room. But, man, monster ceiling with CJ Brona. And the other guy to highlight from the in-state, I know he was a few weeks ago, but Justin Williams right there at Buchholz High School. We list him as an athlete, and I think that confuses a lot of people. Well, the question is Justin Williams a running back? Is Justin Williams a wide receiver? He's the first player in Florida to have 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards in the same high school season since Devin Hester back in 2002. He was originally a wide receiver as a junior. Their running back gets hurt. He shifts on over into the backfield, and he was excellent in that role. I think he's a utility man, but he's a fun gadget type of player. You try to search for player comps. Fans always love player comps. the guy that comes to mind for me, I remember Brandon Powell for the Florida Gators, still in the NFL. I believe he just won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, but he's another guy that kind of split time here and there. And Justin Williams, to me, maybe a little bit higher of a ceiling, but a really, really nice pickup for Florida. They did their homework with him a little bit later to offer, but once they did, there was no question that's where he wanted to be.
Final moments, Andrew Ivins, Director of Scouting, 247sports.com. Andrew, final Gator question, then I want to end with Florida State. The big uglies on the lines of scrimmage, both the O-line and the D-line. Again, we're still early. It's still only June, right? We got 6 months until signing day. But Florida looked like they really wanted to address offensive line. Of their 13 verbal commitments, 4 are on the offensive line. And I know everybody that follows recruiting is also very excited about McCoy, the edge rusher from Mississippi that committed a couple of days ago.
Well, Ryan, it's such a straight or a sound strategy. Look at this past year's college football playoff final. Ohio State, Notre Dame, all 10 starting offensive linemen in that game were signed by the schools from the high school ranks. And I think sometimes we get so tied up in the transfer portal and all the big names in there. Well, guess what? Those big names come with big price tags. And as we continue to shift more and more towards this NFL model with the rev share and the salary cap, you have to kind of be calculated. Every year you can't go out and pay top dollar for one of these premium offensive tackles. So you have to build them in-house. And to me, ever since Billy Napier has been there, him and his staff, 5 + 1 = 1 on that offensive line, they have invested so much resources into player development, finding guys that are going to have a chance to look at or to start in the SEC. And you look at, Florida's projected starting 5 here for 2025. It's one of the strengths of the offense. It's one of the strengths of the program. I think here in the 2026 cycle, they're following it up with some big guys that, again, get them in the program in a few years down the line. They could be potential all SEC guys. Chancellor Campbell, the one I want to highlight, out of Lakewood High School there in St. Petersburg. Lakewood sneakily has churned out a ton of NFL players here over the past 10 years. He's listed at 6'8", 295 pounds. That is accurate, right? You see this guy, I call him a first off the bus offensive tackle with best in class measurables, not maybe the most natural knee bender, but man, he can extend the arc. Really, really like him. You brought up Jarelyn McCoy out of Mississippi, the defensive lineman. He's another one where checks off box after box when it comes to the physical traits and what he could be at some point down the line. He played in the Under Armour All-America game this past year. Really, really good in that setting. But as a junior at Tupelo High School there in Mississippi, wasn't in the starting lineup at times, only 1.5 sacks. So he's one where we've kind of circled, okay, what does the senior season look like? Because he's got all of the physical stuff. We just need to see that on-field production.
Andrew, as we wrap up, not to leave Florida State out of the equation, I'll give Mike Norvell credit because here locally, everybody's talking about Billy Napier and things he's done in the last 2 weeks. Pretty quietly, Florida State has put a couple of things together as well. How are the Seminoles doing on the trail right now?
Well, I said it a few minutes ago, right? Billy Napier on an extremely hot seat this time last summer, and that really hurt and hampered Florida's recruiting efforts. I think that is Mike Norvell and the Seminoles this cycle, right? Coming off a 2-win season, not a lot of momentum, a lot of questions about the long-term future and what it looks like there in Tallahassee. With that being said, they're still getting talent on campus and they're getting some of these guys committed. The big one that jumps out for us, the highest ranked of the bunch, Brandon Bennett, wide receiver out of Fort Lauderdale American Heritage High School. This dude can absolutely roll, right? Another state champion in the state of Florida when it comes to track. Gus Malzahn, he's now calling plays there in Tallahassee. He likes to run the football. He likes to run the quarterback. What does he also like to do? He likes to get it to the wide receivers on those jet sweeps and quick screens. And to me, Brandon Bennett is certainly an individual that can make people miss, and he's not going to lose many foot races. I think for Florida State, my big question is, okay, what are they going to do at quarterback? And we started me being on here saying, hey, I'm out at the Elite 11 finals, right? 20 of the nation's top quarterbacks here. I started counting them last night. I think Florida State has been linked to, 4 or 5 of these individuals, and they still don't have an arm in the 2025 cycle. So, how does that come together? It sounds like Jaden O'Neal, a kid out of Oklahoma that's committed to the Sooners. He's kind of the one that Florida State has the most traction with. Is he a fit for what Gus Malzahn wants to do in terms of moving that quarterback around? I'm not sure. But to me, that's a position they got to figure out, right? And I'm interested to see how it plays out. But a group that's sitting, 22nd right now, I think given the situation, not bad for Mike Norvell and the Seminoles.
Andrew, it's a busy time of year. It's a hot time of year in recruiting. Tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, man, 247sports.com, the coverage you guys have as recruiting is really heating up here in the summer months.
Yeah, 247sports.com. We have a Florida site. We have a FSU site. The teams at those respective operations do an excellent job of covering the program 365 days a year, right? This isn't just a few months in the fall. It is year round. And then obviously you can find me at 247 Sports, like I said, out at the Elite 11 finals, day 3 kicking off here with some 7-on-7 play, and they're going to name an MVP. And what's unique about this, I think in years past, we had an idea, okay, if this guy's going to be the MVP, pretty open in the air. It hasn't been like this in a while. So excited to see how it plays out.
Andrew, I know you're incredibly busy out there at the Elite 11. Thank you for taking time out for us. We certainly appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Believe in the unbelievable. Unbelievable. 1010XL. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. We're hearing is believing. Unbelievable.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Hey, this is Coach Jason Gibson of your Jacksonville Sharks. I know the importance of a strong game plan, and that's exactly what I've got with Clay Solar Installation Partners. They did the install of the solar panels at my house, and I couldn't be happier. Lower energy bills, clean power, and a winning team that made the whole process easy. If you're looking to save money and go solar, trust the pros at Clay Solar. Call Karen at Clay Solar today and tell them that Coach Gibson sent you.
Brendan here with Checkmate Coating. No massive overhead means top prices on top quality pool decks, driveways, garages, and patios too.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece. Your home is more than walls and a roof. It's where you breathe, drink, and power through life. At Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to keep it all running smoothly. From clean, cool air to clean water, reliable power to expert plumbing, we do it all. For over 35 years, families have trusted Donovan to make their homes healthier, safer, and more comfortable. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing today, 904-270-COOL, where health meets home.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 19, 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers win their first title after beating the Golden State Warriors in Game 7, the first team to overcome a 3-1 deficit.
Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Where is the deepest canyon in the United States?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The deepest canyon in the United States is Hell's Canyon along the Oregon and Idaho border, about 8,000 feet deep at some point.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
The
housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Yo, ET here, and I need you to beat the heat this summer with cool escapes and non-stop fun in Clay County. Tackle indoor adventures head on. Throw axes at Live by Axe or smash your stress away at Just Smash That. Then kick back with drinks, good food, and fandom vibes at Nakama Anime Bar or Leaderboard Arcade and Bar. Whether you're blowing off steam or just looking to chill, Clay County got your perfect indoor getaway. Find your pool at exploreclay.com. That's exploreclay.com.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do-it-yourself dirt-attracting carpet soaking machines. No. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Denny Thompson here. You got to check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Thank you to Andrew Ivins, Director of Scouting, 247sports.com, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as he's out of the Elite 11 camp in Los Angeles. We will actually go out to Los Angeles tomorrow again as our AFC West previews will conclude. We'll go out to LA and we'll go out to Denver tomorrow. Last night we were in Kansas City, and coming up here in about a little less than 15 minutes, we'll go to Las Vegas. Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's been my guy ever since the Raiders moved to Las Vegas. And what an offseason they've had, right? They draft Ashton Genty. They hire Pete Carroll. They bring in Geno Smith. A lot of change for the Raiders. And we'll do kind of a Raider offseason review with Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. That comes up in less than 15 minutes. Denmark, as you know, working with me for the last 3+ years, I'm a numbers guy. And I was looking at some numbers earlier today for my numbers of the week that I do on the 1010XL social media channels. What do, and there's actually a lot they have in common, so you probably get it right, even if it's not what I'm looking for. There's numerous things these guys have in common, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What do Joshua Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, and DeJuan Smoot have in common when it comes to statistics?
I'd probably say something with quarterback pressures.
You're very close. If you look on the list for the all-time sack leaders in Jacksonville Jaguar history, now this is sacks that were made in a Jaguar uniform. Everything else doesn't matter. Only sacks made in a Jaguar uniform. Hines-Allen is going to pass Tony Brackens this year for number 1 all time. Brackens has held that record for 20 years, over 20 years, 55 career sacks. Hines Allen's at 53. If Hines Allen doesn't pass that this year, something went horribly wrong. But Trayvon Walker and Dewan Smoot are also in the top 10 of Jaguar all-time sack leaders, which I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. Walker's only been in the league for 3 years. But Trayvon Walker, here's the list. Brackens 1 with 55. Hines Allen 2 with 53. Then you go down to Ngakoue, 37.5. Joel Schminge, number 4 with 34. Does that mean anything to you what I just did with Joel Schminge there, Denmark?
I've heard the story.
Okay, very good.
When I interned here, whoever did the PA for that
would be the one Jack O'Brien.
Yes, he came in studio and explained that whole story.
Calais Campbell, again, in a Jaguar uniform only, number 5 with 31.5. Big John Henderson, number 6. Paul Spicer, number 7. Kevin Hardy, 8. And then there's Trayvon Walker, number 9. 24, Dewan Smoot, number 10 with 23.5. I wonder how many current NFL teams have 3 of the top 10 all-time sack leaders in franchise history currently on their roster. Probably not very many would be my assumption. By the way, Trayvon Walker, if he gets another double-digit sack season, he will pass Kevin Hardy, Paul Spicer, John Henderson, Calais Campbell, and Joel Schminge. Trayvon Walker could be number 4 in Jaguar history with quarterback sacks in a Jaguar uniform if he gets 10.5 here in 2025. So take that to the sports bar this week. Take that to the summer party. Impress your buddies. Impress your friends. That, 3 of the Jaguars' all-time 10 sack leaders in franchise history are currently on the roster. Hines Allen is number 2. Trayvon Walker is number 9. Dewan Smoot is number 10. We're looking for a number 7, or at least I am, because Game 6 of the NBA Finals about to tip off. Oklahoma City and Indiana about an hour from now. It looks like Tyrese Halliburton is going to give it a go with the calf strain. It's win or go home for Indiana. Oklahoma City's 1 win away from a championship. Of course, Indiana, if they win, they would force a Game 7 back in OKC on Sunday. That game tips off in an hour. I think OKC probably ends it tonight. I think for the duration of the series, OKC has clearly shown to be the better team. As an NBA fan, I would love it to see a Game 7 on Sunday, but I ultimately think it ends tonight. And how crazy is this? The finals are still going on. The NBA draft is next week, and NBA teams today announced their preseason schedule already. The Orlando Magic play a preseason home game on October, I believe it's the 12th. So we're less than 4 months away, almost 3.5 months away from next season. NBA Finals are still going on. The Thunder and the Pacers will have about 90 days off before they report to training camp. It is a long gauntlet of a season that could potentially end tonight if Oklahoma City gets it done in game number 6. Back into the National Football League as our AFC West preview continues. Let's go out to Las Vegas. Adam Hill, the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Let's talk Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Ashton Genty, Max Crosby, and oh, by the way, the Jaguars will go out to Las Vegas on November 2nd. We'll look at the Raiders offseason with Adam Hill next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
We could have picked any city, but we like it here.
That's all that matters to me.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Florida heat hitting like a heavyweight? Time to call in the champ. KO Electric and HVAC. We knock out the heat and power up your comfort. Fast, reliable, and undefeated in home service. KOElectricJacks.com. KOElectricJacks.com.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic.
Orthopedic Specialists.
Mia here for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet, and you know how much I love it. My family is obsessed. With summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you and your dad want? Think tool storage, workbenches, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes all you guys. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. ClosetsByDesign.com.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
If you miss an interview, it'll be waiting for you on demand.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Search where you find podcasts.
And at 1010XL.com.
Trained by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit LeeandKatesGlass.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, every day feels like the weekend. Fresh, never frozen chicken wings, tossed in over 30 bold flavors, paired with ice-cold beer and handcrafted cocktails, all in a laid-back, beachy atmosphere. And with every game on the big screens, it's the ultimate escape. And you're home for sports, too. Great food, cold drinks, and all the games. That's Hurricane Grill and Wings. Escape the ordinary and find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
The 5-Star Veterans Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveteranscenter.org.
Her Song is a nonprofit organization that breaks the cycle of human trafficking through survivor care, victim outreach, and education. Find out how you can help at hersong.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, wants to make your flight in and out of Jax a fun one. Stop by Vino Volo in the airport and enjoy 2 signature Brackish cocktails. Vino Volo has amazing food and cocktails before your flight. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka and made right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Brackish Vodka for whatever your sport is. If your sport is flying, your vodka is Brackish, proud partner of the Jaguars.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jax Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jax Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Frank Frangie here. I was talking to a buddy the other day. His HOA told him his old fence had to go. I said, man, call Coyle Fencing. They've been around the block since 1927. Heck, they probably built half the fences in Jacksonville. They do it all. Tough chain link for security, those fancy aluminum ones the HOA actually likes, nearly a century of keeping yards safe and looking good. If you need a fence, call Coyle. You can trust the folks at Coyle. 904-356-4821 or visit CoyleJax.com, COYLE Jax.com.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's all about the AFC West. We will make stops in Los Angeles, in Denver, certainly in Kansas City, and tonight, it's all about a town that, well, I just left earlier this week. I had a lot of fun in Las Vegas. Hopefully the Raiders will have fun for their fan base's sake now with a brand new head coach in Pete Carroll. Our guy out in Las Vegas is Adam Hill, the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Adam, how you doing?
I am good, and I know that you got to check out a very cool venue out here. I will tell you, the UFC event that happened at the Sphere is the coolest event I've ever covered in my life. And I've covered a lot of cool things. That was unbelievable.
You know, Las Vegas always fascinates me. I learn something new about it every time. The Sphere is absolutely amazing. My wife and I saw Kenny Chesney out there. Adam, I had no idea how big the Venetian Resort was. I didn't see daylight for 2 days, and according to my phone, I walked like 12 miles. It was absolutely insane.
It's wild. And that's the other thing is, like, the inside of the resorts are massive, but the outside is, like, it's so deceptive because you'll see people saying, like, oh, I'll walk from, MGM to Bellagio. And, like, that's nothing. Like, well, yeah, it's a lot farther than you think. It's also 120 degrees. So, there's a lot of people that get thrown off by how far things are, both inside and outside here. There's just massive, massive properties. Like, if you're staying at, like, a Hilton in, Nashville, you don't have a mile and a half to walk to your room, but you might here.
Oh, it's incredible. I love it. Absolutely love it. Probably loved it a little too much some of those nights at the casino,
Yeah,
but that's neither here nor there. All right, let's get into the Raiders. Boy, what an offseason there for you guys in Las Vegas. Very active for you like it was for us here in Jacksonville. And let's begin right at the top with Pete Carroll, the reaction to Pete Carroll now making his way to Las Vegas.
I think it's cautious optimism. I think people have gotten over the fact that, not that you guys would know anything about this, but, everybody was obsessed with one man this offseason and Ben Johnson, and everybody just assumed he was going to be the coach. And then when Pete Carroll gets the job, I think there was an initial like, ugh, Pete Carroll, that's not Ben Johnson. That's not exciting. And then all of a sudden it was, oh, wait, Pete Carroll. Like, he's been successful. He knows what he's doing. I think there was that kind of transformation. And I think the more underrated maybe, part of that deal was getting John Spytek, who I've thought for many, many years was in line to get a job. I thought has been a great, administrator in this league. I think he does really good things everywhere he's been, from Philadelphia and Denver and now Tampa Bay the last few years. Like, I thought John Spytek was a huge hire for them. And so I think them together kind of brought a sense of, an adult in the room kind of a thing. Some stability to a franchise that badly needed it, and obviously a ton of turnover in the players too. But the front office and the coaching staff, I think, is where a lot of people are focused, and with good reason. I think there's some excitement about what they could bring to this team.
Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review-Journal, covering the Raiders as our AFC West preview continues. Not only did Pete Carroll come to Las Vegas, he brought a very familiar quarterback with him from their time in Seattle, of course, Geno Smith. Same question, the reaction of the fan base to Geno Smith's arrival.
I think there's a lot more excitement about Pete Carroll than there was about Geno Smith, to be honest. Now, the counter to that is, Geno Smith is actually a guy that started games. He's won games. They really haven't had like that unquestioned starting quarterback the last couple of years. It was signing Jimmy Garoppolo, who was hurt right away and never really was, in training camp and mini camp as the starter because he was hurt. Last year, there's a quarterback competition all throughout. So now they actually have a guy, and it's, hey, he's the starter. He's the guy. He's the leader. He's won a lot of games in the NFL the last couple of years, but it is still, Geno Smith, who is, if you want to be optimistic, 10th best quarterback in the league, 10th to 12th. And if you want to be more realistic, probably somewhere in the mid-teens. He's steady. I think he brings good leadership. I think he's a really good dude. A lot of people have liked what they've heard from him, but I don't think you're going to get, a whole lot of people, running to celebrate that the fact they got Geno Smith. I think it's more steady than spectacular. And they're going to have to wait and see what he does on the field. And he's going to have to win games and get people excited about him. But I do think it's a safe move by the Raiders and a move that steadies the franchise a little bit while they maybe look for their franchise quarterback in the future.
Pete Carroll is there. Geno Smith is there. And in round number 1, Ashton Jeanty is now there. We had a lot of conversations here in Jacksonville about Jeanty. Ultimately, the Jaguars do what they do and trade up to take Travis Hunter. Jeanty lands in Las Vegas. How has he looked so far in rookie minicamp and OTAs?
Spectacular, as you would expect. He's a guy that people here are very familiar with. I am, for the fact that I've covered a lot of college football the last couple of years as well. And Ashton Jeanty was in the conference, the same conference as UNLV out here in the Mountain West. So seen a lot of Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty, who beat UNLV 2 years in a row in the Mountain West Championship game. So there's been 4 matchups between those teams the last couple of years. Everybody knows what he can do. He's looked, as good as you think he should. I am not a running back in the first round guy. I'm very much against it because of, what it sets up. I mean, the guy can run for 1,400 yards this year, and I think it would be a disappointment. And that'd be an incredible year. So, you set up these unreal expectations, I think, when you're taking a running back that high and the value just isn't there. But if you are going to take a running back, that's the guy you want. I mean, he's looked good, even though his real skill is breaking tackles. He's done it at such a high level. He's so skilled that he's so proficient at keeping his balance through contact and keeping up speed through contact, which is so impressive when he does it. And they're not even hitting yet, obviously, in minicamp, and he still looks great. He also has really showed off as a receiver, which is something they didn't really do much at Boise State. Most of his catches were just, tosses and shovel passes and screens and that sort of thing. He wasn't really used as an actual receiver. And they're doing that in the offense here with the Raiders. Chip Kelly is getting him out in routes, different things down the field. So I think that's something that they're going to try to do. They're going to try to get him the ball in a variety of different ways, use them all over the place, and really, try to get the most value out of that pick in the first round. But, especially without pads and without hitting, he's looked just so smooth and so elite as an athlete. I think a lot of people are excited to see what he actually does when, there's pads on and people are trying to tackle him.
A couple of more for Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal, covering the Raiders with us tonight as our AFC West preview continues. Final offensive thought, and it's a guy we're very familiar with from the SEC. Boy, Brock Bowers was worth every pick that the Raiders used on him in round 1, every penny that went into that rookie contract. I mean, what a find Brock Bowers was.
Yeah, he was spectacular. Did everything they could have wanted from him. And, I was one kind of thought the same thing of tight ends last year. Tight end, not really the best value in a first-round pick, but they used him more as a receiver. He was out wide a lot. He's more of a receiver than he is a tight end, and you saw that certainly in the numbers last year. I mean, it was spectacular. Did everything they could have wanted, and I think his numbers go down this year, but his development goes up. I think he's going to be a better player. I think he's going to be more impactful maybe in the red zone, but I think his overall numbers go down because the offense as a whole is going to be better and it's going to spread the ball around a little bit more. But I don't foresee like a sophomore slump out of him. I just think he's too talented. But there's all those other pieces. And, don't forget, Brock Bowers obviously was the tight end of the year in college, 2 seasons ago. The year before that, Michael Mayer was from Notre Dame, and he's still on this roster. And he, took a personal leave last year for about 8 weeks, but he looked really, really good in minicamp. And Chip Kelly talked a lot about getting them both on the field at the same time. And I think Michael Mayer could have a productive season as well to go along with Brock Bowers, who's going to be, he's going to be Brock Bowers. So there's going to be a lot of ability on that field, especially in the middle for the receivers.
On the defensive side of the ball, it all starts and stops with Max Crosby, obviously. But how would you assess, Adam, the defensive side of the Raiders roster heading into the year?
Yeah, I think there's some questions in the secondary for sure. They love the kid Darian Porter they took. He's like a prototypical Pete Carroll guy, but not much experience in college. Only really started 1 year at corner. He's a converted receiver and special teams ace. So they like him a lot. His size is just, he's massive and so athletic. So if he can develop, he could be really, really good. But I think there's questions in the secondary. The defensive line is it should be phenomenal if everybody's healthy, which is a big question mark with Christian Wilkins, obviously already injured from last year and not fully ready to go. In fact, wasn't really on the field at all during minicamp, and they said there was a setback. So we'll see if he's ready for training camp. I think that's kind of a concern right now, but nobody's panicking about it. If he's out there, they had some young defensive tackles that developed last year. They've got Malcolm Kuntz coming back, who the second half of 2023 was just phenomenal. He missed all of last season. They're excited about him. Tyree Wilson, former top 10 pick, who I think most people would consider a bust. But last year down the stretch, if you look at his last 5 games, his pressure numbers were way up. He really found himself a little bit, and he is talking all off season about how confident he is now, finally having that success. He's been on a much different timeline than most top 10 picks, but he is starting to develop. So if he can turn the corner a little bit, the defensive line can be good. And where I'm really intrigued by this team is the linebackers. I think a lot of people would say there's question marks because you've got a guy like Devin White, who's been a very, very good player, who kind of fell off the map, and he thinks he's back to a high level right now. Landon Roberts, who's been just kind of an underrated, solid player in this league. He's been a great leader, great communicator for this defense so far. I think he's a guy that they love so far here with the Raiders. And then they just signed Jermaine Pratt from the Bengals. So really, they don't need all of them to work out. If 2 of those guys work out, they all of a sudden have a really good linebacking core. So I think obviously up front, they're pretty good. The question marks are in the defensive backfield. And if those guys come around, they could be a pretty good defense.
Adam, as we wrap up, and when you say Andy Reid and John Harbaugh and Sean Payton, now Pete Carroll, and then you go to Mahomes and Herbert and Geno Smith and an upcoming Bo Nix. I mean, the quarterback head coaching comparisons in this division are as good as any division in the NFL, probably the best of any division in the NFL. Where do you have the Raiders right now? I mean, clearly they have not been where Kansas City or LA were, but Denver made a nice push last year. Is there some intrigue about the Raiders and what they may be able to do in that division in 2025?
There is, but I mean, they are still in that division, right? I mean, that is the question mark. I think they could take a big step up. Like, they could be a much, much better team than they were last year, and I think they are, and they could still finish 4th. Like, that's possible because of what the division is. Now, I do think Denver probably takes a step back. I know a lot of other people think the Chargers do. I don't necessarily think that. Of course, I'm from Ann Arbor, so I'm a Harbaugh guy. So I don't think they're going to take the step back that other people might think they would. But I think the division is just really good. I'm just a little bit cautious because, a couple of years ago, people were talking about this division being this spectacular thing when Sean Payton first came back, and we didn't get it. And it's still just been the Chiefs Invitational. So I'm hoping this is when they the division finally is what people thought it might be 2 years ago when everybody was excited about this potentially. I remember there was articles that it was the best division ever. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, what happened? So, we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic again that I think this division could be really, really fun and really competitive. And I do think the Chiefs are taking a step back, but you still have to beat them.
Final question. I went out to the official Raiders hotel place. It's almost close to Allegiant Stadium. I had a friend staying out there. That was a cool venue. But being on the Strip, Adam, I mean, obviously a lot of tourism, right? It's not the locals on the Strip. But you don't really see a lot of Raider stuff at Caesar's Palace or Mandalay Bay or where I was at the Venetian. I mean, have they encompassed that city yet, or is it still, a ways to go before they build a strong fan base in Vegas?
You have to win. I mean, that's just the bottom line. This has always been a front-running town. I've criticized the fans here a lot, way before the Raiders got here, for the fact that they're, very much front-runners. If it's not cool to do on Instagram, if there's not something cool to post on social media, then people aren't buying in. And so you saw with the Golden Knights, all the success that they had, and it's very much a Golden Knights town, no matter where you go. But you're right, on the Strip, you're not really going to see it. It's all tourists anyway. Like, you don't even want to remind people that there is a city beyond the casino. You don't want people to even think about that or know that. But once you get outside, you start to see more Raider stuff a little bit. Certainly, it's more Golden Knights than Raiders at this point. I think the A's are going to have a hard time fighting an uphill battle when they get here. But the Raiders are starting there. I think, you see a lot of people that lived here for a long time that aren't necessarily Raiders fans. They had their team from wherever they came from, but kids are starting, in their schools are, starting to embrace the Raiders a little bit. So it's going to take time for those kids to grow up and actually be the fans. But that's what they're kind of working on, getting the young people involved, getting them into it. But it's going to take winning. It's going to take, 2 or 3 consistent winning seasons in a row for people to really, really jump in. But you're seeing it a little bit more. It's starting to spread. You just got to get off the Strip to see it.
And, of course, the Jaguars head out there on Sunday, November 2nd, and then the Gator basketball team defends their national championship and their regular season opener Monday, November 3rd in Vegas against Arizona. So I know quite a few people here. They're going to do the doubleheader, the Jaguars on Sunday and the Gator basketball game on Monday out there, and may see the casinos every once in a while on that trip as well. Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Adam, I know you're busy, man. Thank you so much for the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Of course, and as somebody who had a Gators future to win the NCAA basketball title, thanks to the entire state of Florida.
That's outstanding. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
And thank you to Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as our AFC West preview continues. We've now made stops in Kansas City and Las Vegas. We will end tomorrow night with stops in both Denver and Los Angeles, and what should be a very competitive AFC West. You know, Kansas City's owned that division for quite some time, but there's no doubt the Chargers made the playoffs last year. They're a good team. Denver made the playoffs last year. They're a good team. And you look at Las Vegas, adding Geno Smith at quarterback, adding Pete Carroll as their head coach, Ashton Genty at running back. It should be a pretty interesting division, to say the least. So we certainly spent some time on that. We spent some time on recruiting, both with Florida and Florida State. The Elite 11 finals going on out in Los Angeles. Certainly talked a lot about that. And then, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we are a month away from the rookies reporting to training camp. They report on July 19th. The veterans report on July 22nd. So I spent a lot of time tonight talking about some position battles that could take place in training camp with your Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, that will just about do it, man. It has been a very busy Thursday night edition here of Hacker After Dark, in for Baloo on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us this evening. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, thank you to Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's my guy in Vegas to talk about the Raiders. Always appreciate Adam coming on. Thank you to Andrew Ivins, the Director of Scouting for 247sports.com. Andrew's out in Los Angeles at the Elite 11 camp, but he certainly made time for us tonight, and we thank him for that. And then back in hour number one, JP Shadrick, my pal over at Jaguars.com. You also hear him on Jaguars Radio as we looked back on the offseason that was here in Jacksonville and looked ahead to the training camp that will be coming up in a month's time. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Friday to close out the week here on Hacker After Dark, and we will do it all over again beginning at 6 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us